Hi people, I'm back with another video, except this one is actually about kids getting suspended for the stupidest reasons. And most of them are like 5 and 6. Like, what are you gonna do? Anyway, I feel bad for these kids. But these kids got suspended for the most craziest reasons. If you liked the video, like it and subscribe. And if you did, just tell me in the comments. And the first 3 people to do that, I will mention your name. Alright, let's get into the video. Alright, let's go.
Because it really does help me out. So coming in at number 10, we have a maple leaf. So in 2015, a boy from Oklahoma was on his school bus, but the kid behind him decided to put a maple leaf that he found on the floor in his bag. Not for any particular reason, just because they're really young and they thought it would be funny to put stuff in the kid's bag. Anyway, when he got to school, he pulled out his books for his first lesson, and then the maple leaf dropped out on the floor. And then his teacher sees it and just freaks out and accuses him of bringing weed into school. And after she took him to the principal said it wasn't weed, but for some reason decided to suspend.
Okay, wait. I don't even think that 5-year-old little boy knows what weed is. And they accuse him of taking it to school. It was a leaf from a tree. These people are stupid.
Him anyway, and not just for a little while, for 2 whole weeks. Even though the kid didn't even bring weed in at all, and he didn't even know that some other kid had put a maple leaf in his bag. These kids were so young they probably didn't even know what weed was. That's crazy, but anyway, coming up next is a paper gun. So if you thought the last one was crazy, this one is just plain dumb. Seriously, it's like they don't want kids in school. Basically, a little girl who was at an elementary school in Philadelphia found a tore up piece of paper on her desk, and then like most logical people, she just threw it in the bin. But then another class member snitched on her to her teacher and said she made a gun shape with the paper. How can you even call that a gun? And what's more, she didn't even make it. She just found it on her desk and then threw it away. Now, I'm not trying to make any accusations, but I think it was highly likely that it was this guy who told the teacher. But anyway, she ended up getting suspended for the rest of the week. But after the girl's mom found out, she told a lot of people who were outraged about her kid getting suspended for absolutely nothing. And it even made it onto the local news.
Okay, she got accused of finding a torn piece of paper on her desk. And then some kid says that she made a gun out of it. I mean, this is like freaking stupid. Okay, what the heck? You're just like sitting there. Huh? Might as well throw this piece of paper away. She made a paper... Miss Flower. She made a paper gun and threw it away to get rid of the evidence. You're suspended for a week. What is she gonna do with the gun? Unless she was doing this. Die, 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 die. I mean, there's no reason to suspend her. That's stupid. Oh my god.
But after the girl's mom found out, she told a lot of people who were outraged about her kid getting suspended for absolutely nothing, and it even made it onto the local news. But despite all of this outrage, the girl's suspension was not lifted. Here's the news report.
You would call me a murder.
That's what Melanie Valentine says classmates are calling her at Newland Fell Elementary School in South Philadelphia. She pulled out a paper gun last week and says an administrator scolded her in front of the class. Her mom says staff even searched her with other kids watching the whole time. Diana Kelly says the paper gun looks something like this, a sheet just folded over. She says she went to throw it away, but a boy saw it and called administrators. The family says one of them went overboard. I even went to the school district's headquarters for answers. The district says they're looking into the matter and can't comment for...
Next up is cleats. In 2014, a kid called Jason had some really old shoes he wore to school which eventually broke. His family was really poor and they couldn't afford to buy him a new pair of shoes, but his mom found a pair of cleats at a discount clothing shop which she got for a few dollars. And Jason had to wear these to school because he had no other option. But when he got to school, his teacher immediately started yelling at him for wearing the cleats because they had small plastic studs on the bottom of them. The kid actually had to admit his family was too poor to afford school shoes in front of his whole class, and even then the teacher suspended him. And she didn't just suspend him for a while, but indefinitely until he got new shoes. So I guess that means if you want to go to school, you've got to have money. That really makes me angry because it's totally out of his hands and he's just trying to get an education. So next up is a Lego gun. This is another case of a kid having something that slightly resembles a gun being kicked out of school. So a boy brought in a set of Lego figures to play with at lunch at his school in Massachusetts, but one of these figures happened to be carrying a gun, and when the teacher saw this, she confiscated it. So okay, she confiscated it, it's a bit unnecessary, but at least it's not totally crazy. But wait, there's more. She then called his parents and told them to pick him up, and then suspended him for the rest of the day. The mum had to leave work just to pick up her kid. Just wanted to play with some Lego. What can a Lego gun really do? This is an actual photo of it, and you can literally see it's smaller than a small coin. Here's the news report.
Yesterday, the school notified my wife that my son had brought a toy gun to school, and that he was facing possible suspension. And I remember, like, the toy where someone's playing with it in the
Kill
morning.
people?
And I said, it can't be the same gun he's talking about, because there's only 2 inches.
I was at lunch with my Lego toys. I had them out, and then she had to call my mom, and I had to talk to her, and I realized that she wasn't actually mad. So then my friend Robert came down because he had another Lego toy with an axe.
Oh, at the time, he was extremely upset. He didn't know what he did wrong. He didn't know why he was in trouble. I told him on the phone, he was hysterical, crying with the principal that, you did nothing wrong. I'm not mad at you. I'll get your toys back, and we'll take care of this. So he was nervous to go to school today.
We have no quarrel with the rules. They're in place for a reason. All right, we don't believe kids should be bringing imitation guns to school, but like this is, it's not even on the radar. It's a 2-inch little gun.
I mean, it's clear from the media attention we've gotten from this. This was overkill. This was ridiculous. This was not necessary.
Next up is burping.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's right, someone got kicked out of school for burping. Well, kind of. In fact, it's actually a bit worse than that if you can believe it. In New Mexico, a 13-year-old kid burped one time in class, and then his teacher took him to the principal and told her the kid burped. And then because he burped, the principal thought he might be a stoner for some reason and accused him of selling weed. They even got the police
Are you
round to detain him and then
serious?
search him with no evidence. The family sued the school but eventually lost. I mean, it's nasty to burp, I guess, but accusing someone of being a drug dealer for it is just plain ridiculous. So next up is aspirin. In 2016, a girl called Savannah was in the 8th grade of her school in Arizona. They were on a school bus on the way to a field trip when suddenly another student accused her of having drugs. So the teacher stopped the bus and strip searched her, like fully naked, without any evidence that she had drugs. I mean, even if there was 100% evidence that she had drugs, shit, even if there was evidence she had 100 grams of coke, she still shouldn't have been strip searched because she's a kid. Anyway, the teacher didn't find anything on her except aspirin, which the other student had mistook for hard drugs. The teacher even called the police, who arrived on scene, and they weren't happy to hear that she'd been strip searched. She was suspended for the day and her family changed her school. The family then sued the school because of how pissed off they were about her being strip searched. And can you guess if they won or not? Well, you probably guessed wrong, they actually lost. If I was a judge, there's no way I'd let teachers do that to her. So next up is Cub Scouts. So Zach Christie was 6 years old when he decided to join the Cub Scouts. One day, the school had a dress-up day, and because he was so into being a Cub Scout, he wore his uniform. But with that uniform, he took a few other things that every single Cub Scout has, such as a whistle and a combination tool. But when his teachers saw his combination tool, they freaked out and confiscated the tool because she said it was dangerous. The school also suspended Zach, but not for a few days, not even for a few weeks, but for over 2 months. He went to a reform school for that time, which he didn't enjoy at all. And because he wasn't a bad kid, he didn't fit in there, and I doubt he got much of an education compared to his regular school. Next up is a clock bomb. This was probably one of the biggest news stories of 2015. A 14-year-old from Texas called Ahmed Mohammed was really into engineering, and over the weekend he built a homemade clock. On the Monday morning, he brought the clock into school to show his engineering teacher what he'd done over the weekend. The engineering teacher said it was cool, but he asked him to put it away because it looked like a bomb. But Ahmed decided to bring it out in English class and turn it on, which made a beeping sound. His English teacher then thought it was a bomb and told the school principal, who called the police. The police then came into his class, interrogated him, and then handcuffed and arrested him. He was then taken to a juvenile detention center and had a mugshot taken along with fingerprints and more questioning before he was allowed to be picked up by his parents. He was suspended from school for 4 days after the incident despite not doing anything wrong. Once this hit the headlines, many people were outraged and some found it racist because he's Muslim. Even Barack Obama tweeted in support of Ahmed saying, "Cool clock, Ahmed, wanna bring it to the White House? We should inspire more kids like you to like science. It's what makes America great." But his family sued the school for $15 million and then moved to Qatar, which is a country in the Middle East. Even though they shouldn't have arrested the kid, he should have taken his engineering teacher's advice, and his family definitely shouldn't have sued the school for $15 million. Next up is a handgun. So this is yet another one where kids were suspended for gun-related things. This one kid from New York called Mason pointed his finger at another kid, making a gun sign with his hand. Then all of a sudden his teacher asks him to come into the principal's office, and then his teacher accuses him of making violent threats, just because they were messing around pretending their hands were guns. Either the world's gone insane, or this teacher's just insane. The kid ended up being suspended for a week because of the hand sign he made. Now I know America has a lot of school shooting problems and gun issues, but I think that he's going a bit too far, even if you do want kids to be safe. Here's the news report.
I got in trouble, and I was very sad.
First at 11, a 6-year-old boy from Montgomery County speaks with us after he is suspended for making a gun-like gesture with his thumb and forefinger. Tonight, the little boy and his parents tell ABC7 his school went too far. The little boy attends Roscoe Nix Elementary School in Silver Spring. Only on 7, Tom Rousey is live outside the school with all sides of this issue. Tom?
And Maureen, after the tragedy in Connecticut, schools are understandably very concerned about guns, but a local family says what the Montgomery County school system did not make things any safer and was just plain ridiculous. They say they're also upset school officials questioned Rodney about things like whether his family owned a gun without them present.
I had to tell her all my video games.
Rodney has served the one-day suspension, but the family says the incident needs to be removed from his permanent record. And the school system tells us that this was not a knee-jerk reaction on their part. They say they take very seriously suspending students, especially one so young. But the Lynches say there were a lot of ways this could have been handled without suspending a 6-year-old. Live tonight in Silver Spring in Montgomery County, I'm Tom Rousey, ABC7.
Next up is cake. This one happened a while ago and was one of the first crazy reasons kids were kicked out of school to get a lot of attention because of the media. A 4th grade girl from Delaware had her...
This is beyond retarded. I don't even know why they do this.
birthday on a school day, so her grandma made her a birthday cake for her to share with her class. She put the cake in a box and put a knife in the box to cut the cake. When the kid got to school, the teacher used the knife to cut everyone a piece, and then told the kid she had to leave school for bringing in a knife. So she wanted to punish her, but not before she took a piece of her cake. And she didn't just try to suspend the girl, she tried to expel her completely. But as I say, this got a lot of hate because the media stepped in and the school board overturned the expulsion. See, a lot of people hate on the media, but sometimes they can be useful. But this has got to be one psycho teacher. And that just about wraps up this video. Check out the poll in the top right corner and you guys can vote for the craziest reason to get kicked out of school. For me, I think it was aspirin, just because the girl was actually strip searched.
Alright guys, I hope you liked the video, and I don't know, bye.
But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe.
Peace.